Anger. What a destructive and terrible force, and how painful it is to be confronted with someone who is really, really angry with you. And I've shown this here in the sculpture through these radiating thorns to convey the strain and the pain, the sharpness, the discomfort of being in front of that attack from anger. And yet there's another side to anger, which I've shown through this figure that's diving through and looking out and reaching out to you in the midst of all that fire. Someone that's actually trying to communicate a deep, pent-up truth that needs to be said and you need to listen to. The figure is, in a way, it's almost like an underwater figure diving through a coral reef unscathed by it, and their hair is shown almost like a sea anemone of flexible fluidness, in great contrast to the stiff sharpness of the thorns. So it's a sculpture of contrasts, and it speaks of those two levels of experience at the same time. When I made this sculpture, I was living in a little rural cottage, and the sharpest thing I could find around me was hawthorn. And I built the structure of these thorns actually on hawthorn branches. And the mask of the face I modelled directly from wax, using an old sheet that had got all cracked. And that gives the texture, the feeling of an old skin, like that of a snake that needs to be sloughed off and renewed. And I really don't like anger. I know that often anger can just be oppressive and terrible. So this sculpture can't speak of every kind of anger, but it does try to speak of a particular experience of hearing truth spoken, suppressed truth, through anger. And maybe one lesson we should all learn is to try and listen to what has to be said, especially if we're in the wrong, before it reaches such a destructive and heated point. Anger.